Hello, I am Girish Kishnani, and you are watching 5 Minute Learnings. In the last video, we started the new series on cognitive biases and learnt about confirmation bias in detail. In continuation to it, we shall focus on the second type of cognitive bias, the hindsight bias in this video. The term hindsight bias refers to the tendency people have to view events as more predictable than they really are. Before an event takes place, while you might be able to offer a guess as to the outcome, there is really no way to actually know what's going to happen. After an event, people often believe that they knew the outcome of the event before it actually happened. This is why it is often referred to as the "I knew it all along" phenomenon. For example, after a person's favorite team loses the Super Bowl, they might feel convinced that they knew the team was going to lose, even though they didn't feel that way before the game. The phenomenon has been demonstrated in a number of different situations, including politics and sporting events. In experiments, people often recall their predictions before the event as much stronger than they actually were. High school and college students often experience hindsight bias during the course of their studies. As they read their course texts, the information may seem easy. Of course, students often think after reading the results of a study or experiment, "I knew that all along." This can be a dangerous habit for students to fall into, however, particularly when test time approaches. By assuming that they already knew the information, they might fail to adequately study the material. When it comes to testing time, however, the presence of many different answers on a multiple choice test may make many students realize that they did not know the material quite as well as they thought they did. By being aware of this potential problem, students can develop good study habits to overcome the tendency to assume that they knew it all along. So, what exactly causes this bias to happen? Researchers suggest that three key variables interact to contribute to this tendency to see things as more predictable than they really are. Cognitive. People tend to distort or even misremember their earlier predictions about an event. It may be easier to recall information that is consistent with their current knowledge. Metacognitive. When people can easily understand how or why an event happened, that event can seem like it was easily foreseeable. Motivational. People like to think of the world as a predictable place. Believing an outcome was inevitable can be comforting for some people. When all three of these factors occur readily in a situation, the hindsight bias is more likely to occur. When a movie reaches its end and the viewer discovers who the killer really was, they might look back on their memory of the film and misremember their initial impressions of the guilty character. They might also look at all the situations and secondary characters and believe that given these variables, it was clear what was going to happen. So they might walk away from the film thinking that they knew the outcome all along, but the reality is that they probably didn't. One potential problem with this way of thinking is that it can lead to overconfidence. If people mistakenly believe that they have exceptional foresight or intuition, they might become too confident and more likely to take unnecessary risks. Such risks might be financial, such as placing too much of your nest egg in a risky stock portfolio. They might also be emotional, such as investing too much of yourself in a bad relationship. Blaming the victim is another possible effect of hindsight bias. People often believe that since they knew what was going to happen all along, the victim of a crime, accident, or other tragedy should have also been able to easily predict the outcome. There are a number of tactics you might try in order to reduce how this bias influences your thoughts and behaviors. Consider alternative outcomes. Researchers suggest that one way to counteract this bias is to consider things that might have happened but didn't. By mentally reviewing potential outcomes, people might gain a more balanced view of an outcome's apparent inevitability. Keep a decision journal. Writing down your thinking about a problem and solution is one way to minimize the effects of hindsight bias. Instead of looking back and believing that you knew the answer all along, a journal means you'll have a written record of your thinking process as you work through a specific problem. Remember your original judgments. Research suggests that intentionally retrieving the memory of your original judgment before you recall the correct outcome can be helpful for eliminating hindsight bias. That's all on hindsight bias from my side. In the next video, we shall learn about anchoring bias. Hope you found this video useful. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, 5 Minute Learnings. And do remember to hit the bell icon to get notified of the new videos. Thanks for watching.